today is your unbirthday? What are the chances? Okay, well, let's celebrate that then. Let's celebrate your unbirthday with a cup of tea and part 2 of our look at Alice in Wonderland on today's That Song from That Movie. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob
SquarePants?
Yeah, you seem very confused by that.
Well, I've never got one right before, so...
Thank you for joining That Song from That Movie, the journey through the very best and worst of movie songs. I am your curiouser and curiouser host, Dietrich, and today we're joined by, careful, he's stark raving mad, Alex.
Yep. Be careful. Just be careful, yeah. Just be careful. Even listening to me can cause a form of madness within yourself, so just be careful.
I must remember to put those warnings on at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, definitely. We can't get in trouble about that again.
I always say one is bad, one is sad, one is mad.
Yeah, is that us 3? I think I'd rather be mad out of those 3.
Well,
unless it's bad, like the Michael Jackson, but not in the way that he was bad, but in the song. Yeah, that type of bad.
Moving on.
Okay, and he's tired of being only 3 inches tall, Ben.
Still waiting on that growth spurt. My mum says any year now. Apparently 30s is where it really happens.
That's when you get that growth spurt.
Really kicks in.
Yeah.
So, welcome to part 2 of our look into the songs of Alice in Wonderland. If you've, for some reason, clicked this one first, go listen to the part 1 first. That seems odd that you'd pick part 2 first.
Yeah, go now. You do it.
Ben was the one covering these songs, so Ben, over to you.
Lovely stuff. So yes, we have covered one song, and there are 14, of which many I will rush through. And are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Locked and loaded.
After we have covered... Oh no, we've covered 2 songs, sorry. We've covered 2 songs so far.
And one deleted song. It was just so forgettable that you forgot about it.
Oh, yeah?
Again.
We did actually, didn't we? Moving on. We're moving on. We're 2 down. We've got 12 to go through. Okay, so once we have been introduced to Alice, a random rabbit, the white rabbit, runs across screaming about how he's late for something, I don't know, to which Alice follows him down the rabbit hole into Wonderland. He sings, apparently, which is a song, I'm late, which you 2 remembered. I think most people sort of remember it. Apparently it has like 3 verses, but I think it's because he sings them throughout the film and in the album, which wasn't released, I don't think, until many, many decades later in the US. Put those verses together, which is a bit cheating, really.
Yeah.
Anything to say? No? Fantastic. Okay, so we're then gifted various segments, and as we've said, Alice in Wonderland is incredibly a segmented film. We have various run-ins with random residents of the land. There is a dodo bird, which sings the song Sailor's Hornpipe and the Caucus Race. Terrible songs. Don't even bother listening to those ones. While a shrunken Alice is swimming in a sea of her own tears. Nothing is memorable here. That is my notes. Anything to say? No?
We are so going to get Twitter comments from people asking why we didn't cover them properly.
I'll tell you why. Because they're naff.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say for them.
We've covered them in our sort of descriptions of the other songs, basically, that they serve a purpose. They are filler, not killer. They are no big songs. And some of them are very much like there's a verse, and then that is narrative speaking, goes back to the screenplay, and then it kicks back into the song. And they're so sort of broken and like all over the place. It helps fit in with the sort of chaotic nature of this land, this Feywild of a sort. But yes, they are not memorable. And if anyone wants to argue with me, my name, you can speak to me at it's Dietrich on Twitter.
You couldn't even plug our own Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Christ.
We don't want to talk to us. Yes. Then Alice runs into 2 red-haired Boris Johnson lookalikes in Tweedledee and Tweedledum as they sing How Do You Do and shake hands, sung as if someone has attempted to teach them the appropriate way to introduce themselves to strangers. I was aware of this song. I knew all the words to this song. And yet I still don't really have anything else to say on it. I had a Disney sing-along VHS in which this song introduced the Unbirthday Song. It's like 2.5 verses. There's nothing other than it repeats how do you do and shake hands, state your name and business. That's it. I loved it as a child. I don't give a damn about it now. What else do you want me to say?
Thank you, next.
Yeah, we're moving through them. Now, this is an interesting song, and I didn't ask you guys that we were going to talk about it just because it's very all over the place. So Tweedledee and Tweedledum then regale a tale of the walrus and the carpenter, which is, I think, probably the best scene in the film. Do you remember this scene?
No.
No.
Cool. Clearly it's memorable. So basically, a walrus and a carpenter are on the beach looking for like clams. They want to cook them together, and the walrus just eats them all. The song's it's based on a poem that's in the book by Lewis Carroll, and each verse is framed as like is it a limerick where it's like lines 1, 2, and 5 rhyme, and 3 and 4? Or is it? What do you call them? It's like when it's a stanza, but I don't know how you.
Doesn't like there once was a man from Nantucket.
Yes, you know that lines 1, 2, and 5 rhyme, and lines 3 and 4 rhyme. There once was a woman from Keeling who had a peculiar feeling, and I will alert to Bridget Jones for the rest of that. Is it called a limerick?
I don't know if it's specifically a limerick.
Come on, Alex, you've done books.
Well, it's just a rhyme. That's just the rhyme scheme of the poem. It doesn't necessarily have to be a limerick. Hang on.
You consulting your
Rhyme.
I don't know, dictionary.
No, I'm just looking at limerick rhyme scheme. No, so limerick rhyme scheme would be A. So 1, 2, and 5 rhyme, and 3 and 4 rhyme.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a limerick. Yeah, so that's just the rhyme scheme. But you call it you say A. So all the lines that are A rhyme. All the lines that are B rhyme.
I know things. I did my research. Don't doubt me, Alex, next time.
No, I didn't doubt you this time. I just genuinely did not know.
Yeah, well, Dee's got my back.
Yeah, limericks and such.
You were too quiet for too long there, Dee.
I was too busy reading the Wikipedia article about limericks.
For the next time it comes up, so you're more well versed. No pun. So yes, once she's ran into the Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Alice continues on, meeting more and more unusual and unique creatures. She gets stuck in a house. She grows incredibly large, to which the dodo returns, singing a song, "Smoke the Blighter Out," which could easily be some sort of very nationalist chant. It's in a very British poppycock voice. But interestingly, one fact that I do have about this song, or this character, the same person who does the voice of the dodo, this very British poppycock, it's like a sort of an upperclassman voice, is the same person who does the White Rabbit, which is a big difference in sort of skill.
I thought you were going to say one of the cards.
No, yeah. Bill Thompson, he was apparently a very gifted radio comedian, radio presenter of the time, who clearly had a way with accents and dialects. Because that is a shift. Sort of doing that really gruff voice to doing, I can't even do the sort of White Rabbit. I'm not even going to attempt that. Okay, rushed for a few. I'm going to take a pause and actually do a little bit more of a deep dive, because the next song up is one we are a bit more interested in, which is this song, "All in the Golden Afternoon." So it's performed by Catherine Beaumont, again playing the role of Alice, as she sings alongside the Flowers of Wonderland. And this one's found its way into many Disney compilations over the years. Now, do you know why I picked this song out? Because personally, it's a bit of a mess song.
No, I was wondering why you picked this one. Because all I've put is it's a bit Bambi-esque.
Yes, actually, that's a really good pick. D.
I got really strong Christmas vibes from this one.
I can see that.
Almost like it's the June version of It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas.
The June version.
Yep. It's beginning to look a lot like June.
I just want to clarify. I did say the month June then.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
No, I didn't
think anything else
until you clarified it.
No, the reason I've picked on this song is nothing to do with the song. Because All in the Golden Afternoon is the name of the sort of preface poem in the book Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It's the poem that comes to mind when apparently Lewis Carroll was on the boat trip from Oxford to Godstow with the 3 Liddell sisters, of which one was Alice Pleasance, who was 10 at the time. So in the book, the sort of opening is a poem called All in the Golden Afternoon, of which the song is based on. So a few lines from the song is taken from this poem, which basically captures the tale of this boat trip, in which the sort of book came about. Apparently, Lewis Carroll felt that the book would be too scary for children, so he had to include this poem to sort of alleviate that, to kind of bring a bit more of a grounded sense to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see why children will be scared of this story. And especially because the normal version has like dragons and shit in it.
Dragons and shit. Is that the LSD talking again, Alex?
Yeah. Well, they don't have the Jabberwocky in the cartoon.
No, they don't. And there was a song about the Jabberwocky which
Yeah.
they deleted from the film as well. And yeah, I don't know what is the most scary element of the film, whether it's the sort of psychedelic darker parts or it is just the Queen of Hearts with her sort of decapitation fetish.
Yeah, I think it's probably the latter. The fact that she will just drop your head off for no apparent reason.
You want to hear the poem? Yes, they shout.
Yes.
Okay.
But do it in double speed.
Right, imagine you're on the river, sat opposite. I don't know. Should you be imagining yourself sat opposite Lewis Carroll, Alex? Is that dangerous?
I don't. I think it depends how old you are.
Oh, okay. All in the golden afternoon, full leisurely we glide, for both our oars with little skill by little arms applied, while little hands make vain pretence our wanderings to guide. Ah, cruel three in such an hour beneath such dreamy weather, to beg a tale, a breath too weak to stir the tiniest feather. Yet what can one poor voice avail against three tongues together? Ugh. Imperious Prima flashes forth her edict to begin it. In gentler tones Secunda hopes there will be nonsense in it, while Tertia interrupts the tale not more than once a minute.
Faster, faster, faster.
Anon to sudden silence one in fancy they pursue, the dream child moving through a land of wonders wild and new, in friendly chat with bird and beast and half believe it true. And ever as the story drained the wells of fancy dry, and faintly strove that weary one to put the subject by, the rest next time, it is next time, the happy voices cry. Thus grew the tale of Wonderland, thus slowly one by one, its quaint events were hammered out, and now the tale is done, and home we steer a merry crew beneath the setting sun. Alice, a childish story take, and with a gentle hand, lay it where childhood's dreams are twined in memory's mystic band, like pilgrims' withered wreath of flowers plucked in far-off land.
Now do it Gilbert and Sullivan.
There was a very modern of a modern Major General, and so on.
So it's kind of like a preface to the story, then, isn't
It
it?
is, that's exactly what it is. It's preface. You know, it's like, oh, don't worry, it's not real, kids.
I swear.
But Lewis is coming out to get you.
Yeah, the monsters in the story are not real,
yeah. Behind the page.
but the one on the boat.
You don't want that last page to close. Okay, anything else you want to say about that?
I think you said it all.
I have said plenty and need a drink of water. Okay, and back to the story. Skipping forward over many more boring songs. The caterpillar does his ow, which is how I pronounce A-I-O-U, I think. Have you not seen that video on YouTube? A guy who could just let a vowel and he just says, how do you pronounce it together? It's just a oh. Apparently the Cheshire Cat sings a tune called 'Twas Brillig, which he does, which is, again, insignificant, inconsequential, although the Cheshire Cat is a fantastic character. So then we get into what is, in my opinion, the best song, the most notable song, even though you guys did not remember it, which is the Unbirthday Song, performed in the film by the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. Before I give some factoids, what do you guys think of this one?
So I think this is it's a fun song, and it's a bit of an earworm as far as I'm concerned. I think what I enjoy most about this song is how, despite us, the audience, knowing this is a fully scripted and rehearsed song, it retains that sort of chaotic energy of improvisation.
Yeah.
And it carries it all the way through to the end of the song. It genuinely feels like the March Hare and the Mad Hatter are just riffing on the concept of an unbirthday that they've just been given by the audience to try to figure out.
Yes.
Yeah, it just really feels like it's made up on the spot, and that's a credit to whoever wrote this song and the way it was performed.
But yeah, I completely agree. Definitely. It's I guess the sort of a very merry birthday to me, to who, to me, oh you. That sort of back and forth, it's very jovial.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything more to add, actually. I think you've really nailed it there, D.
Thank you.
It's kind of, it does...
I'll put in an applause sound here.
Yeah.
What was that?
That was me trying to make applause. I should have just done like the sheer above.
Yeah.
I think it just really works with the scene, and like you say, like it just feels really chaotic and random, and they've somehow managed to encapsulate that lyrically and also musically. So I think it really works. Do the characters of the Mad Hatter and the Hare, do they actually feature much beyond this scene in this film?
No,
because I felt they made such a big deal of them, didn't they? In the Tim Burton ones, like the Mad Hatter, obviously was played by Johnny Depp, so they had to make it a bigger part. But it's like very integral to the story. Whereas in this, I feel like they just weren't.
I can't remember. Some characters get summoned by the Queen at the end. I feel
in the core.
Oh,
yeah.
they do. Yes, because then they say the
Yeah,
Queen
they
because
do.
the Queen's got an unbirthday.
Yes.
But in general, like I say, it's that sequential element of the film, which I guess imagine is like the books, in that it's just kind of like every page is kind of a different story, which fits with how Lewis Carroll told the stories, I guess, in just sort of fits and starts. And I guess Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton version, is trying to make it a narrative with a kind of the 3-act structure, which to me doesn't work.
I really enjoy the part at the end where the dormouse floats down with a little umbrella into the cup, and then they put a lid on the cup.
The dormouse is fantastic. Question here, guys. Where does the phrase "mad as a hatter" come from?
Oh, it comes from the lining of inside of hats was made of like lead or something, and it used to send people crazy.
I think it was mercury,
Mercury, it might be mercury. And it used to send, they used to think it might make people mad, which it probably did because it's poisonous.
Yep. Yeah. I think hatters, I guess, the sort of frequent exposure to it, they would often go a bit insane. But Lewis Carroll seems to have sort of coined the term Mad Hatter and trademarked it patent pending. I don't know much history around the March Hare.
No idea.
I don't know what that means.
Scottish?
Scottish?
I don't know that either.
Well, we've all got an unbirthday. I like the concept. I just think it's a very sort of, I don't know how you describe it, but I don't know. It's just as an event, a term, what it means. I think it's just quite interesting and very fitting to the world and the sort of lightheartedness. I just find it enjoyable, as stupid as it is, because that's a lot of presents.
So apparently, March Hare weirdly comes from the phrase "as mad as a March hare."
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah,
He was onto something, this Lewis Carroll. He knew what he was doing.
So he's essentially taken the two from As Mad as a Hat,
Yes, yeah.
and As Mad
Makes
as a March
sense.
Hare.
Yep.
And just
And Dormouse. My favourite scene in the film comes in this scene, which is when the White Rabbit runs through and the Mad Hatter tries to fix his watch. He basically just takes it apart, pours like sand and sugar in it, just takes pieces out. For some reason, I just find it absolutely hilarious because it's the chaos, the chaotic energy that they breed, and just like such self-assuredness that they're doing right and there's no wrong to it, which is probably also why I don't like the Tim Burton film, because I prefer that they are just pure chaotic beings.
Yeah, there's no like darker edge
with no rhyme or reason to them. No, they are just almost in like a sort of a purgatory state of never-ending tea.
Keep changing places.
Yeah.
Yeah,
change places. I did. There is actually a really nice animation in this as well, where the March Hare pours out of a teapot a saucer, a cup, and then tea
and sugar, and two lumps of sugar.
Yeah, and sugar lumps land on top. Yeah, and I thought that was really nice.
Brilliant, fantastic. We're flying through. There's only 2 more songs. The next one's called Very Good Advice, which is a song sung by Alice. It's kind of this moment where she realises, oh shit, maybe I'm not going to get out of here, which she thinks of for all of like 2.5 verses, and then she's back to her confidence. There's nothing, again, it's a completely meh, dull song. I feel this could have been a moment where they fit in something, bigger. There's a bit more of an emotion to be played with, whereas the film has very little emotion, because there feels like there's no stakes. Like the connection through it is just she's chasing the White Rabbit. There's nothing else really. It's just this kind of is that I might not get home. There could have been an element, maybe affixing it to the Wizard of Oz connections, that I feel could have had a better song, could have had something of more substance. But it's not. It's pants. It's absolutely pants. And then it finishes. We bookend the songs of Alice in Wonderland with the song "We're Painting the Roses Red," which is again.
Is this the last song of the film?
It's the last song. Yeah, there's no.
Oh, God.
It just ends on the same note as it's kind of hit all the way through. I mean, it's a song in which Alice stumbles upon 3 playing cards painting the roses of the Queen of Hearts red because they accidentally planted white ones. And she does not like that. And we all know what will happen to those she does not like. What do you guys think?
Well, it's obviously, as proud Yorkshireman, it's quite painful to watch them paint white roses red.
Yep, I've written in my notes too.
So that was my main takeaway. The second one was it felt like they were trying, and I mentioned Dumbo earlier, but it felt like this turns into like a stripped down version of Elephants on Parade at the end. So I don't know if that's kind of what they were going for. It's not as weirdly in what this film is and kind of what they've done throughout it. It doesn't hit the same psychedelic craziness that Elephants on Parade does actually, which I think is a bit of a misstep because I feel like if they were going for it, they should have taken it further. But I kind of enjoyed the scene. I kind of enjoyed them throw it. I mean, they somehow managed to launch the buckets of paint onto the tree, but none of the paint goes on the tree.
Or on Alice.
Or on Alice, or anywhere. And as well,
she should look like Carrie by the end of the scene.
Well, there was sort of a dark moment where one of the cards says like chop off the head and just like stripes the red paint across the neck, which I thought was maybe a bit risque in a children's film. But
yes, it's there. She'd raise a fuss and each of us would quickly lose his head.
Yeah, so I kind of enjoyed watching the scene back just for that. But yeah, I felt like they could have taken it further if they were trying to kind of put it on a level with something like Elephants on Parade, which it felt to me like they were doing towards the end of the song.
I also did get quite strong Elephants on Parade vibes from this song, but I also, stronger than that, I've got a golden ticket from Willy Wonka.
Yeah, actually, I'm on that line of thought.
Like, it seems to be the exact same sort of bounce to the song. Yeah, I couldn't tell if I was listening to that or Painting the Roses Red when I was thinking, oh, I remember this one. Do you remember this song? Or do you actually just remember a completely different song from a completely different movie?
Yes, no, I'm going with that line of thought, definitely. Something I learned was that the original book, apparently Queen Victoria was a huge fan of, whereas I'm pretty sure the Queen of Hearts is her.
Yeah, I think so. Visually, definitely so.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know the connection. Is the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland, or is it in Alice? What's the sequel?
Through the Looking Glass.
Through the Looking Glass.
And the dragons and shit?
Is that Alice and Dragon? That's when he went really downhill. He was fully on the ketamine by that point. Alice and Dragons and shit. I would not have liked to have been on that boat ride. That reminds me more of those sort of like hover boats on the bayou. That's the kind of stories he'd be saying. That not going from Oxford to Thurston or whatever it was. Yeah, like I say, it just ends. Like there's not, obviously there's a scene coming. There's no real importance to any of the songs in this film as we kind of summarise and bring us to the point of summarising, because I agree the best songs are kind of the fun ones. I do maybe have sort of a slight soft spot for In a World of My Own, but yeah, it's just they're all kind of fun and light, and by far, personally, the worst soundtrack we've covered so far, Disney-wise.
Yeah, I think,
I wouldn't,
especially percentage-wise,
disagree with that. No, because I feel like every other one at least has had one really standout song. I feel like this one really didn't for me, and I think, like you say, like none of them are really songs. only maybe the first two, the opening one and the World of My Own one, the Westlife number. They're the only ones that really feel like true songs to me. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, I mean, the only one I think that maybe I would put on a low level would be Bambi, but we've been through it already.
Yeah, I'd still say, like, of the best songs of each of those, Drip Drip Drop, Little April Shower, it's a better song.
Oh, it's a better song than any of these, yeah.
Top 5.
Okay, so top 5. As we have referenced various times in this podcast, there was a Tim Burton release of this film, of which there have been many live CGI remakes of Disney films. And I want to know from you guys, what are the top 5 live-action remakes of Disney films according to Rotten Tomatoes? So we're going on critic score. So of the film so far, of which I think up to date there is 18 live-action remakes.
There's 18 live-action remakes of Disney films?
Yes, some of them I'd argue, but yes, there's been 18. So don't just say these out. I want you to try and order them since there's so few.
I've not seen that many.
Well, my first instinct is that 101 Dalmatians is the number one.
Oh, because that was like the original sort of live-action remake, wasn't it?
Yeah, like the one with Meryl Streep.
Glenn Close.
No, Meryl Streep.
I don't know that one. You might be the only person who's seen that version. Yeah, so that might be a good shout.
Glenn Close is the most attractive woman named Glenn.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. The only person I could think of there was the former Newcastle manager Glenn Roeder.
Most attractive woman named Glenn.
Yeah, I know. Well, that was it. That was the only other person I could think of named Glenn.
I think it's a line in like Family Guy or something like that, or Simpsons.
Okay, what else was well received?
I'm trying to think which ones I've seen. I've seen the Beauty and the Beast one, which was passable. I've not seen the Lion King one, but there was a lot of problems with that one. Wasn't people were like saying it was really weird to look at?
Yeah, I've only ever seen clips of it, and I couldn't bring myself to watch the full film because it looks so odd.
Are these so when we say are these actually like the official?
So they don't have to be like the Disney ones, but they are live action remakes. So, for example, like the Tim Burton ones, they fall into this, even though they're not made by Disney.
They are Disney.
No, sorry. Yes, no, that's my mistake. They're not these sort of revamped versions. You know, it's kind of like a slight sort of changing of the story.
Yeah, but we're not talking like stuff like Maleficent, where it's kind of like.
So yeah, Maleficent counts. Yes, things like that because it's kind of remaking.
Oh, does it?
That's that's what I'm trying to reference. Sort of like remaking of.
All right. Okay. So get that in there.
So that's probably in there.
Yep. Jungle Book, I think, was well received.
Well, there was 2 versions, weren't they? Because there was the non-Disney version and there was the other version.
Oh yeah, Mowgli.
But the Jungle Book one was actually really good, I thought, when I watched that one. So I personally would put that one in there.
There's 2 Jungle Books. There's the Jungle Book, the Jon Favreau version from like 5 years ago, and then there's the sort of the one in the 90s with Jason
not
Scott
the
Lee.
circus one.
No, that one doesn't count. I think because it's technically
it's not made by Disney, right? Sorry, I see what you mean.
I mean, the one I'm thinking of is the Jon Favreau one, which I liked, but
yeah.
So go on then, put a random 5 together. What are you thinking?
I think, like you say, 101 Dalmatians is probably in there because it was like the original one. I think the Beauty and the Beast one, I think, was okay. Like, it was very similar to the original. So I would maybe think that might be in there.
Oh, about Cinderella?
I have not seen that one. So I don't know.
I don't know either. Mulan wasn't very good.
There's obviously Maleficent, I would guess, has been there because that was like a really big film at the time. But again, not seen it. So.
Yeah, it got a sequel as well.
Yeah.
If we named 5, we're confident in saying.
I think I think you have, but go on. I've got my fingers up for our audio listeners.
So 101 Dalmatians, Maleficent, Jungle Book, one of the Jungle Books. I don't know which one.
Yeah, whichever one, the Jon Favreau one.
Yeah, let's say the Jon Favreau one. I'd not seen the Aladdin one, but that looked awful.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's been like just a really good one recently that people said was decent.
I think the Aladdin one might have been critically well received.
That's the thing, it's critics what we're going for. So you got Maleficent, 101 Dalmatians, Jungle Book,
Beauty and the Beast, maybe. The Dumbo one was really badly received.
Okay, so what are you saying? So you said that's 3.
Yeah, got Beauty and the Beast next.
Beauty and the Beast, and then
102 Dalmatians,
which is technically counts in this list.
I was just wondering whether the Lion King might just be in there.
Okay, Lion King.
Yeah,
because it was very similar, wasn't it?
Yeah, lock it in.
Okay, how do you feel you did?
Badly.
Yep, terrible as per usual. Yep. So you got none right.
None of those films were in the top 5.
No, they weren't in the positions. The only one you got was the Jungle Book.
That was the only one that was in the top 5.
Uh-huh. So the Jungle Book is the highest rated critically Disney live action remake with 94% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me because it was quite good.
Number 2, you didn't even mention, which was Pete's Dragon, which is a very good film.
There was a live-action remake?
But the remake
Yeah,
version.
the live-action remake. Yeah, have you not seen?
But the original was live. The original was live action. But it just had an animated dragon.
Well, yeah, it's still a live.
But
this
is a grey area.
It's still a live-action remake.
Well, yeah, but it's not a live action version of an animated film.
Live-action remakes.
Because the dragon wasn't real in the remake either. It was still an animation.
But you're opening a can of worms there. Like, does Jungle Book count as an animated film?
Well, exactly. Okay.
It's on the list. It's directed by David Lowery. You know who David Lowery is? The Green Knight. That's on Amazon now.
Oh yeah, Ghost Story. Yeah.
Yes, he directed Pete's Dragon, which is why it's so good. Third is Cinderella. Fourth is Jungle Book again, the also known as Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book from the 90s, starring Jason Scott Lee. Yeah. And then fifth is Cruella, 74%.
Oh, well, I'm not seeing that.
No, I've not seen that. Oh, that's the recent one you were trying to think of, Alex.
Yeah, because I was like, there's one recently which I felt had been received well, but.
And last place, number 18, is Alice Through the Looking Glass, 28%.
Was that the sequel one? The Tim Burton sequel?
Yeah. Okay, so now it's time for us to figure out what is the best song from Alice in Wonderland. A lot of them are crap, so this is going to be quite easy. Alex, go.
Probably the Unbirthday Song, but the In a World of My Own was better than I remembered because I didn't remember it.
Yeah, well, I'm going Unbirthday as well because I can't pick Beyond a Laughing Sky because it's not in the film.
Yeah, Beyond the Laughing Sky probably would have been the best song. I probably would go with In a World of My Own. I would listen to them back. It's probably the best song, but the Unbirthday Song is definitely the most memorable. So take from that what you will.
So that brings us into another episode of that song from that movie. Let us know on Twitter which one you think is better. Alex, what is that Twitter handle?
TSFTM Pod.
You can help the podcast by sharing this, and one of the places you can share this is on Reddit. But what subreddit should they pick, Ben?
The Johnny Depp subreddit.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of news in there at the moment. They need a break.
You can also help the podcast by leaving us a 5-star review, buying our merch, or signing up to our shiny Patreon. Links to all of those is in the show notes and on social media. So all that's left now is to do some goodbyes. So it's goodbye from myself, goodbye, and goodbye from Alex.
Remember what the Dormouse said? Feed your head.
And goodbye from Ben.
Goodness.
So goodbye, everybody. Bye.
But why is a raven like a writing desk?
Depending on how we're doing for time, I can read this poem. How long is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 verses.
Seven verses?